a lot of just different goals.
Yeah, no worries.
And what I feel called to do.
Cool. All right, well, usually near the end of the show, I kind of do some rapid-fire questions just so the audience can get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
They're silly questions, but, it's whatever.
Okay.
What are your favorite movies or your top 3 favorite movies?
I don't really have favorite movies, but I would say I like Soul Surfer.
Yeah.
I like The Impossible.
Okay.
And
what's The Impossible about?
The Impossible is about, it's actually pretty sad.
Really?
It's based on a true story, and it's about a family who goes on vacation to, I think, Thailand or Philippines or something. And there was a huge hurricane that happened when they were there.
Is that with Tom Holland?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not seen that, but
anyways, they get destroyed and the family gets like split up and this and that, and at the end, people are trying to help other people, and at the end, the family gets back together and they get back to the U.S.
Okay, cool.
But I don't know. I guess it's an inspiring story.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah.
Cool. So, The Impossible, Soul Surfer, and then you have a third movie?
Third. I've loved, like, growing up, I love Disney movies, but I've also loved, like, the Avengers movies.
Sweet.
So, like, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame.
Did you see Endgame?
Yes. Yeah, I saw that in Kenya, in, like, the IMAX theater.
Did they do it in English or Swahili or?
English.
Okay, cool,
Oh, yeah.
cool. I was in Sicily and I watched Transformers and it was all in Italian and I was just like, oh. Oh, no. Okay. That's cool. By the way, I don't hold it against you at all if, like, you haven't seen a lot of movies, because, like, your sister has never seen any movies. Like, when I talked to her about it in high school, I'm like, did you see this? And she's like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, we literally can't talk about anything. But what are your favorite books or top 3 favorite books? And you can totally take your time, because, like,
I'm trying to remember. I've read a lot of books.
Yeah.
I would say, I'm trying to think of the names of the book. I just read this summer. I've been reading different books.
Yeah.
One of the books I read, I don't know if it's my favorite book, but one of the books I recently read was called Single, Dating, Engaged, Married, and I like suggest that to all, like, the young people.
Yeah.
To read that.
Okay.
It for me, it really touched on, like, it's written by Ben Stewart, who's a pastor for Passion City Church.
Okay.
And anyways, and he, like, wrote, and I think he just did a series on it at his church, but I don't know, for me it hit me because I'm at the age where I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about having a family one day, hopefully getting engaged and married. I don't know when, but God's timing. And so it really talks about, like, even if you stay single, why God has called you to singleness. Mm-hmm. It talks about, like, dating and relationships with guys, girls, like, family, like, everything. So I think, like, to me, like, that really hit, like, a lot to me. I've also, I don't know, I like reading books by, Bob Goff. I just recently read his...
That man's a genius.
Yes, he's awesome. I wish he was my grandpa or something, but I think he's so cool. But, yeah, but I've read his books, Love Does, and what was his new one? Right, I can't think of the...
I don't know his new one, but I haven't even finished Love Does yet.
I can't think of the title of that book, but it's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite scripture? Or, like, what is some scripture that you like to live by?
I don't have it, like...
No worries.
I don't have it off the top of my head. I'm like, there's a lot.
Typically, when I ask, like, girl missionaries, not to give a stereotype at all, but they literally almost can never answer this question because there's, like, I don't want to choose one. There's so much, but I'm like,
so many.
No
I'm trying
worries.
to think of mine.
I can kind of let you think on it and go to the next question if you want.
Think of it. I would say, like, I think growing up, like, but a lot of people say this verse is John 3:16.
Yeah.
When it talks about, like, for God so loved the world, he gives only son.
Yeah.
So that basically is saying, like, you need to go into the world and make disciples.
Right.
But I don't know. There's a lot of verses. I like a lot of Psalms. I like a lot of, and Proverbs and.
My favorite psalm is
Romans. I love Romans.
My favorite psalm is Psalms 121, and it's I look to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. But it's like the whole chapter and everything, right? Like, hopefully, I'd like to get it tattooed somewhere on me one day. Hopefully, we'll see. But I'd have to move out of my mom's house first before I do that. So, but do you? Here's the next question. And I get a lot of, like, mixed opinions about this, but do you believe in spiritual warfare? And if so, what do you like? What's your position on it?
Wow.
I know that's kind of heavy, but like.
Yes, I do believe spiritual warfare. It happens to, like, everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone. And I think for me, definitely as, like, a pastor or a missionary,
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And I think, like, I've lived in Kenya 3 years, and people will ask me, oh, is there witchcraft over there? Is there this and that? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess, like, I don't really think about that. I just think about saving people's souls. But what I was going to say is I've had so many ups and downs the past 3 years. I even had surgery in 2017 in Kenya, and for my appendix, and I almost went toxic. And
did you have to get it taken out?
Died, and I had to get it taken out.
Oh, jeez.
It was this huge thing. But, like, I always usually get, like, I can get sick very easily, and
Really?
there's certain things where, like, Satan knows, oh, I can get Kirsten here, or I can do this to keep her away. And, like, I remember coming back to the U.S. after I had surgery, and people were like, are you going back? Are you crazy? Like, you just had that.
Yeah.
You just had that happen to you. And I told them, it's like God. I wanted to go back. I didn't want to be back.
Right.
And, I have this whole huge thing happen to me. I was in the hospital for a month, like, in and out because I was sick. And
I think I actually saw that.
Yeah.
Like, on your Instagram. You were on a struggle bus for a bit.
Yeah. It was hard. I've gone through really rough times.
Yeah.
Friends who I've trusted in Kenya who have stolen from me a lot of things.
Dang.
I've gone through just a lot of just regular life things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that, like, life happens like it happens here.
Yeah.
Like it happens here. People go through things.
Does the spiritual warfare kind of differ in Kenya than it is, like, in America, would you say? Or is it just kind of like it's all just kind of one thing?
To me, I think it's all one thing.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What is some of the best advice you've ever received? Or, like, anything that anybody's ever told you that's been really encouraging?
Gosh, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I had notes or something. I think recently, I know right now I've been going through, like, a lot of culture shock, and I want my flight back was
Culture shock back in America?
Here, coming back here.
Oh, man.
To different things from, like, being in Kenya, but I feel like, it's, like, I don't know, I'm losing my train of thought. It's hard. It's hard sometimes to go back from cultures, and
were you just, like, kind of walking around like, you people are gross?
No.
Like,
no, it's different in places, and I think one of the most, like, I came back. I thought I was going back. I thought I was supposed to leave actually today to go back to Kenya, and I don't have the funding or finances to go back right now, and so I've told my friends that, and I could tell you, like, right now, some of my best friends are in Kenya right now. They're not here in the U. I have friends here in the U.S., don't get me wrong, but some of my closest best friends I've met actually are in Kenya right now. And I think one of the best advice recently that I was given because I just got off, like I just started a good, like a full-time nanny job I've been doing this summer and right now through this school year to try to make some money to go back to Kenya, and and I love children, so it's perfect for me. But anyways, but one of the best things that one of my friends was telling me was, Kirsten, you were like, they were telling me, they're like, Kirsten, you know, you were looking for something that was like small to you because you're like, oh, I just want something small. I want to I want to go back to where I was. Yeah. And they're like, really what you need is you need something that's like big, but you don't really know that because you don't feel like God will give that to you. Yeah. And they said, you know, sometimes this is what you want. Yeah. But that's not what you're going to get. Right. What you are going to get is what you need at that time. And I think that really spoke to me. Yeah. Because like that's been coming up a lot recently to me because God knows what you need, and sometimes he doesn't give it to you straight away. Yeah. And he wants you to work at it. He wants you to have faith. He wants you to be able to trust him. And so for me to be able to do that is I have to be open to opportunities and what he has for me. So right now I'm just beginning this journey back in the U.S. for a while, and it could be a year, it could be 2 years. I don't know, but I know I'm like, okay, God, like whatever you have planned for this, I'm here, and I'm hearing what you want me to do.
You know, one of the things I notice about like people who are willing to step into missions full time and everything, they're some of, well, for one, the kindest, but they're also like I guess the word is meek, the most meek people. And it's for that very reason. It's like they're willing to step into servanthood, and like for you naturally, like because of that, you might think that it's like, okay, I'm going to step into this low position, so I'm only going to take like, or I'm only going to receive like, you know, what little I can get, because like that's all I'm kind of looking forward to. But like you having that heart to go serve and literally change your entire life, even on a geographical scale, is the willingness to let God take the reins of your life. But then in that, that's like showing, hey, even though I don't really know it in myself, but like I'm ready to receive like the gigantic vision that you want me to be a part of. And I think that's always my encouragement for people who go overseas, because I can tell how humble they are. But I'm like, don't be afraid to step into something that's going to be a lot bigger than what you thought it was going to be. It's going to be, who knows what it's going to be. Like, you're an instrument, and God knows how to, you know, play you the best, right? So just be ready, you know. But that is cool, though. I'm glad your friends like encourage you for that. Yes. One of the pieces of advice I got, and I've never said this on the podcast yet, but it just, that kind of made me think of it, but it really stood out to me. I was taking care of old people, and there was this old guy. He was a doctor that I was looking after, and he was 94. And I'm just sitting there in the living room with him while we're watching KET, and I looked over at him. I was like, hey, Dr. Popham, do you have any advice for somebody my age, as somebody that's like 94? And he sat there for 2 minutes in silence, and I literally thought he like forgot that I asked him a question. And he just looks at me and he goes, don't take anything that anybody says too seriously, because nobody really knows what they're talking about. We're all just trying the best that we can. And just believe in yourself. And I was just like, that's okay, cool. But that is really neat, though. My next question to you is, if you want the audience to know anything about yourself and your life in Kenya, what is the one thing you would want them to know the most? That's definitely really broad and vague, I know, like, but what? I kind of leave it up to like whatever you want.
If I could pick one word, I would say adventurous.
Yeah.
I feel like anywhere you go, you have to be willing to, like, go on the adventure.
Cool.
If not, like, you're not gonna make it.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
No worries.
But yeah, I would say I'm very go with the flow person.
Okay.
And so if my friends, like, one of my friends actually asked me, this was like last year sometime, one of my friends asked me, she's like, hey Kirsten, are you doing anything this week? I'm like, well, yeah, besides like work, yeah. Well, I was like, why? What do you have planned? And she's like, so one of my friends is getting married in Rwanda, and I was wondering if you wanted to tag along on a 30+ hour bus ride.
Yeah.
So I went all the way through Kenya, all the way through Uganda, all the way to the west side of Rwanda.
Holy cow.
And it was like on bus.
Yeah.
And the roads are like bumpy. So it's like potholes. And like
Do you get motion sickness at all?
Luckily I didn't.
Okay,
good. Anyway, so I'm very spontaneous. I'm very adventurous. Funny short story was that I actually ended up, this girl has known her for, I don't know how many, like my friends has known this girl is getting married for I don't know how many years, for a long time.
Okay.
And this girl ends up putting me as a bridesmaid in her wedding, like 10 minutes before the wedding starts. Actually, it was like 5, more like it.
Was it like to even
I
out?
I was bridesmaid. In the Rwanda culture, they do 2 weddings, so it's like a traditional wedding, and then they go do like, which is like they finish paying dowry and stuff like that, and then they are doing the church wedding.
Is it on the same
like
day or is it?
Yeah,
it
was started at like I think 8 a.m., 8 or 9 a.m., and then it went to like I think past midnight. But yeah, it was like an all-day event.
Holy cow.
But anyways, yes, I'm a very spontaneous, like I just do things. Well, people say I do crazy things, but like not too crazy things.
No worries.
So yeah, I love going to go see new places, new cultures. I love meeting new people from different places. I'm very, like, if my friends told me, hey, let's go to the coast, to the ocean, I love going to the beach. So they're like, it's like an 8-hour drive.
What are the beaches like there? Are they
They're not there. It depends on where you go. I like, at first, when I first went to their ocean, I liked the South Coast better than, like, there's North Coast and South Coast. I liked South Coast better than North Coast, but now I've found, like, certain areas are good in North Coast and certain areas are very good in South Coast.
So I think sandy or rocky or
some of them are like, it depends on where you go. Some of them can be trashed.
Yeah.
Some of them can be rocky. Okay. Some of them can be just like pure white sand, like you'll find in like Florida or something.
Oh wow.
So it just depends. It really depends on where you go. So I love adventurous things. I think my last day when I was in Kenya, my friend, the same friend who invited me to go to Rwanda, she asked me to go to, it was a holiday that day. There's so many different holidays. So there was a holiday that day. I don't remember what it was for. But anyways, so she invited me to go on this trip with some other people to the Arbor Dares, which is like one of their forests.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, that forest is huge. I'm like, you need to plant trees there because that's some of our water source comes, like, flows from the river all the way down to, like, goes in Nairobi, all of this stuff. So even they were saying, like, in that, like, forest range that we were in, they're like, watch out, you could be seeing elephants. Of course, you see, like, monkeys everywhere. But yeah, there's just, I feel like there's always, like, something new to explore, something to do. So I'm very just out there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
I guess is what you'd say.
All right. Last question, and it's definitely the weirdest question, but I ask it every time.
Okay.
Do you believe in aliens? And if so, why? And if not, why?
I have no idea.
Some people that come on the podcast believe in aliens, and some people don't. I'm just curious to know.
I've watched, like, movies with like aliens and different things.
Has it never, like, you never just, like, looked up, like, into the Kenyan sky, like, with all the stars and been like, you know, maybe they're aliens? I don't know. Do you ever think that? Or
not real. I don't really think that. So
right. Cool.
I'm not saying I don't say there aren't any. I'm not saying there is.
Yeah.
I actually have no idea.
All right, cool.
If there are aliens or not.
Well, that's all I needed to know.
Okay.
All right, well, Kirsten, thank you so much for being on the podcast. And I think anybody that has a chance to listen to this is really, they're going to be inspired by your story. And, you know, hopefully they'll try to help you in some way. But one more time, I want to give you the chance to plug, you know, your nonprofit and tell them the website and everything and how people can reach you best if they want to support you. So what is the name of your organization and your website again?
My organization's called Living Hope Inc.
Okay.
I think I have a Facebook page. I think it's Living Hope Inc. Africa.
Okay.
Which I think is also linked to like my Facebook page, but I also have an Instagram page called Living Hope Inc.
Cool.
And also my personal Instagram page. But I have a website that you can go to is livinghopeinc.org.
Okay.
Which will have more information about like just what I've been up to, what I've been doing. And I think it also has the address that you can send checks to in the mail. And they'll go, you'll get, if you give donations, you can get 100% tax deductible on them.
Cool.
Yeah.
So usually like you'll take check or something like that, or
check or cash or
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, Kirsten, thank you so much for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want, I will be posting all of her information and how you can support her when I release the episode. So that's how we'll do it. And Kirsten, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, thank you for listening. We will see you next week. This was Life on a Mission.